Hello y'all, this is Elise and welcome to my channel. If you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you've seen or at least heard of the Netflix movie He's All That, or maybe you only heard of Addison Rae. I grew up watching She's All That, the movie that stars Rachael and Freddie Prinze Jr., so I knew of the basic gist of the plot. I didn't go into this movie thinking they'll never top the original. I'll save that kind of nostalgia-based outrage for whenever they remake Never Been Kissed or Ever After. So, what did I know about Addison Rae going into the movie? Well, I saw her on Jimmy Fallon doing the unseasoned version of all those TikTok dances, and that's about it. So basically, I was going in blind when I started watching this movie, but I guess not completely blind since I had seen She's All That multiple times. Okay, so Addison Rae is playing the character Paget, and she was surprisingly not that bad of an actor. While she was doing her influencer thing in character, she seemed completely natural in, let's call it, the Disney Channel style of acting. If you've ever watched any show or movie on the Disney Channel, you know exactly what style I'm talking about. And the love interest, my goodness, he's awful. Usually when you have someone being bullied for being different at school, they keep their heads down and stick to themselves. Kind of like Molly Ringwald in Pretty in Pink. She kept to herself in her small circle and she would give clapbacks, but only if she was being harassed by a bully. But this guy, he seemed to openly antagonize the most popular people in school unprovoked. They'd be minding their own business and he'd walk up with some unsolicited rude opinion about them, their dancing, or their clothing. I guess because he's dressed in flannel and wearing a hat, we're supposed to be rooting for him. But Flannel Boy just seems like the kind of person who would mock you for liking mainstream music and call you a sheep unironically. The plot of the movie starts basically when Paget shows up to her boyfriend's music video shoot and finds him cheating with some girl named Aniston. She's already doing a live stream, but her friend doesn't stop the recording when Paget starts screaming and throwing stuff at him. In real life, this amount of insane hyper drama playing out on a live stream would absolutely increase someone's views. Historically, the public has always loved big, messy train wrecks. That kind of thing would honestly boost her subscriber count and generate a ton of sympathy for her. Most influencers would milk this kind of stuff for all it's worth and end up with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands more followers. But somehow this happening to her is negative and people start unfollowing her. She has a sponsor drop her, so now she's not able to pay for college. Which is weird because getting dropped by a sponsor would mean there's no additional money coming in, but she should have been making lots of money already. She and her blonde ex-boyfriend seem to be extremely successful influencers, yet she seems to be broke all the time. And there's no mention of her constantly paying her mom's rent or her mom's car note. It's just one offhanded comment about her paying for a plumber one time. She seems to somehow only have one sponsor too, which is insane for an influencer at that level. And then, when that sponsor drops her, she's got absolutely nothing. It's almost like when the boyfriend drama played out, she had to pay back all the money that the sponsor had previously given her. Returning to the plot. So Paget makes a deal with the girl from the game plan, Madison, let's call her because that's the actress's name, that she can turn the worst guy in their school into a popular guy. Part 1 of her executing her plan is Paget showing up to his job where he cleans out horse stalls. Flannel Boy mocks her for wanting to take selfies. Paget informs him that this is how she makes money. She's not just posting because she's vain, this is how she helps contribute to her family financially and further her own future. But then when she goes to take another picture of herself, the dude's like, seriously? Like, hey, you're working at a horse stall making money for fun because you come from money. And this girl just explained to you that she does not have money and that this is her only stream of income, and you're still mocking her for basically working. Why? Because the trade of being an influencer isn't as respectable as shoveling horse feces. But I guess if someone told the rich kid that they needed to do something to make money, the rich kid would kind of have some kind of a disconnect. Like, why don't you just ask your dad in Sweden to give you more money? It's so baffling how Paget never realizes that Madison has been actively sabotaging her So Paget goes to Madison's pool party and starts singing an incredibly auto-tuned version of Teenage Dream by Katy Perry. As she's singing, she sees Aniston and her ex-boyfriend show up. And then Flannel Boy gets up and joins her in an auto-tune duet, and it's supposed to be some kind of a connecting white knight save the girl moment. Flannel Boy then takes Paget to a train station and they bond some more. Paget makes some weird comment about how she's never seen him smile, and it's strange because when she went to visit him in the horse stall, she fell off the horse, and they proceeded to laugh really hard together. And I'm pretty sure he was smiling previous to her falling off the horse while they were conversing, although maybe she didn't count those as genuine smiles since he was spending the whole time mocking her. Eventually, Paget convinces the Flannel Boy to let her do a makeover for him for Madison's party. We're then treated to a shopping montage. Paget gets him some clothes and then, with no previous mention of being skilled at cutting hair, gives him a haircut. And when I say gives him a haircut, I mean she takes off the half wig he's wearing. I mean, no person in hair and makeup bothered to blend his real hair with the wig the entire movie up to this point. And then they have the big reveal of him looking, within the world of the movie, attractive. Insert pointless conflict. Paget and company go to the 20s party that Madison is throwing. Again, the cheating boyfriend is invited as well, and Paget doesn't question it at all. No alarm bells go off as to why her close friend is inviting the guy who screwed up her life to two separate events. Flannel Boy and the ex-boyfriend start to get into a fight, but before the fight breaks out, like any passionate photographer, Flannel Boy takes his camera and puts it on the ground by the pool. There's so many options as to what he could have done with this very high quality camera. He could have put it on the cake stand, he could have handed it to Paget, he could have even handed it to his sister. But no, Mr. Photographer takes his camera and puts it right by the pool, like on the edge where you wouldn't even put glasses. He puts an expensive piece of equipment. Of course, after the cheating guy loses the fight, he takes the camera and tosses it into the pool. And honestly, who wouldn't do that? Then Flannel Boy has to jump into the pool and retrieve his camera. Somehow in his head, all of this ends up being Paget's fault. He gets all upset with her for I can't even understand what reason, but he's like, "This is your fault. You have terrible friends, so I'm mad at you." Paget feels guilty, although, again, I cannot imagine why. She didn't trick him to come to the party in an attempt to get him beat up, and she sure wasn't the dummy who put the camera close to the pool's edge. Am I a bet? Finally, Flannel Boy and Paget make up and he asks her to prom. But Madison sees what's going on and decides to reveal the whole plan. She's like, "We had a bet," and she's trying to win money or something. I honestly forgot what the whole bet was. Of course, Flannel Boy gets outraged and storms off. Madison finally pulls off her passive-aggressive mask to reveal her aggressive mask. Somehow Paget is completely blindsided by this. She's like, "What? It was you this whole time? Wait, is that why you didn't press stop when you were recording that live stream? That's why you kept inviting my ex who's been psychologically torturing me to all your parties. It all makes sense now." And Madison's like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to take your whole life, chick. I'm not coming for 10%, I'm coming for everything." Ending. So Paget starts to get ready for prom. Rachael Leigh Cook, despite previously mentioning she works almost 24/7 as a nurse just to keep a roof over their head and to keep up with the tuition for Paget's school, still finds it in herself to chaperone the prom. What a trooper. Honestly, she should have just taken the day off to rest. But they were not going to end the movie without putting Rachael Leigh Cook in a formal dress, so they got it. They go to the prom and you find out the principal's Matthew Lillard. And I'm not even being sarcastic, I was genuinely happy to see him there. He does his usual funny quirky shtick thing. End of the movie. Since it's She's All That but gender swapped, you can't end the movie without doing that dance scene from the prom, but instead of doing "Right About Now, Funk Show Brother, Check It Out Now," they dance to some song I've never heard in my life. It looks like everyone's counting the steps the whole time and then they toss in some break dancers for good measure. But I guess since Addison Rae does TikTok dances, they wanted to keep it more or less TikTok looking. The scene went on a little too long, or I should say way too long, but we got through it. Let's wrap this up. It's time for prom king and queen to be announced. So they proclaim the prom king to be her cheating ex-boyfriend and the prom queen is Paget. Yippee, except she doesn't want it. So she takes the crown off and makes some speech about how she's not as perfect as she looks online, which everyone already found out, but somehow that still shocks everyone. I don't actually wake up with a fully beat face and perfect barrel rolled curls. Shocker. Also, I'm poor. To which I assume the school said, who cares? So Addison takes off the crown and leaves. Good thing she went out the right door, because that's when she sees Flannel Boy riding up on a horse. Flannel Boy drove the horse, I assume 45 minutes to the prom so that he could ride the horse 15 feet across the lawn. But hey, entrances are everything. They kiss, and yay, happy ending. Then they decide to go backpacking through the world, which I assume Flannel Boy is funding these trips because Paget's forever broke and he's got daddy's money. Also, they get loser tattooed on their arms, which I honestly don't think they should have to do. I mean, Madison sabotaged the bet, so did they really lose? The plan would have worked if Madison hadn't spoken up. So what did we learn? It may shock you to know influencers aren't always stunningly beautiful every second of their life, and sometimes influencers pretend to be rich when they aren't. We also learned that even though at the pool party there was a DJ with full equipment set up, Gen Z DJs, like the DJ at the prom, have no grasp of the concept of DJ equipment. He could have easily said to Matthew Lillard, I made all these mixes on a playlist at home and I'm just playing it off my phone. But no. What's a turntable? What's a record? What's sound mixing? Are these prehistoric terms? Generational disconnect? Ah. Also, we learned that you have to live your life in the moment and stop posting everything for social media. Even if your job is to post pictures of yourself in sponsored content so that you can further your life, your mother's life, and pay for your future, it's still frivolous to take pictures. The way you live in the moment is by capturing candid moments of other people, but it has to be on a camera, not a phone. Lesson learned, message received. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the movie. Let me know what your expectations were going in and if it was better or worse than you expected. Do you think people went overboard pretending like this was the worst movie ever to have been made? In the comment section, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. See y'all later. Lesson learned, message received. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the movie. Let me know what your expectations were going in and if it was better or worse than you expected. Do you think people went overboard pretending like this was the worst movie ever to have been made? Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. See y'all later.